Okay, the Paige went on Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast. I'll get through the controversy right off the bat. Yes, if you're a more mainstream wrestling fan, you're probably thinking, so they went from like Vince McMahon, Triple H, Paul Heyman, Paige. So I can get some of the angst. People are like, she's been wrestling for a couple of years. Why is she on there when you've had, those three very legendary names? And then there was also the talk that's supposed to be Hulk Hogan, but Hulk Hogan said some things. Ironically, Paige has got a decade worth of experience in the ring. Her whole family's wrestlers. There's actually a documentary about them, which I'm going to actually try to find to watch. So you got a bit of her background, who really influenced her. So you have Lita Bull Nakano, hence her finisher, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he was like, tell us about the Paige character. So she went into a little bit about that. How her first tryout, she tried to be much more diva-like. She's like, I had a spray tan, I was all girlied up. It just didn't work. Came back 6 months later, due to Johnny Ace, being like, we'll give you a shot again. And she's like, that's when I showed up. She was like, I had the piercings, pale skin, jet black hair. And I stood out. And that's a great look for her. And that's actually who she is, which was nice. Talk about how she wrestled snug. No, lots of women don't like that very much. She also kind of joked about how she enjoyed learning from Sarah Amato, or Sarah Del Rey, if you watched her during her active times. Teaching her how to wrestle both the diva style and a superstar style. So teaching them how to actually work in a really more successful match style. About the difference in the move styles. She's like, this is called a check. Some people call it a shoulder block. This is a tackle. So her moveset was different. She also noticed how she wrestled snug. Austin also wrestled snug. That's where you're a lot closer. So when you throw a punch, instead of there being that heavy amount of space between your fist and your opponent, you're making at least a light contact. So it looks a lot more impressive. It's as opposed to stopping just short of your target, you're at least making some connection, but you're not really trying to hurt the person you're taking on. Of course, she also recounted about the first bump she took. Her mom was 7 months pregnant. She was gorilla press slammed into her father on the outside of the ring. That's when she realized, she's like, oh, I am pregnant. Paige also has scoliosis, which she found out when she came here to the States. She mentioned, go to a chiropractor, do yoga. I don't do that. Now, my first thought was, when I meet her at WizCon, I should be like, DDP yoga. It's pretty awesome. You should look into it. Some tremendous things. She talked about lots of different training that she had. Fit Finley, Dean Malenko. And I was like, those are some good people to learn wrestling from. How the toughest thing she had to learn was a promo. Because she never really did them in the past. So she had to actually learn how to tell a story in a promo, which was great. About Triple H's transformative effect on women's wrestling. Being like, alright, here's 20 minutes, go do a match. How she was actually injured for quite some time. And she's like, I want to get back in there, Can I please get back in the ring? Triple H was like, okay, I'll bring you back in a week early. That was a championship tournament week. Yes, so NXT champion, first ever NXT women's champion. She never lost the belt. She was stripped of it because she was the only one to hold both titles simultaneously. And she's now a 2-time Divas champion. She mentioned, she's like, wants to end up being in the Hall of Fame. She'd like to be champion again. She made a light joke about maybe changing the title. So it's a very interesting watch. You get a lot of bizarre background stories of wrestlers that she met, times she had. Lots of ones about her brothers beating people up. And a decent amount, too, about what it meant to become a diva, since she was there for NXT during its more transformative years, as well as kind of helping to lead the revolution we have now in sports entertainment related to women in the WWE. Kind of how it was started initially by her and Emma with a match that they had at the first NXT pay-per-view. or NXT Network Special, because we can't call them pay-per-views anymore because they're network specials. So interesting watch. Is it on par with like a McMahon, like a Heyman? You know, she has a tremendous amount of experience and knowledge, but it's a different sort of knowledge. If you're comparing someone who's like 22 years old, she'll be 23 around SummerSlam time, comparing someone who's like 22 years old to someone like in their 50s and 40s, 50s, and 60s, yeah, their perspective is entirely different. But it was interesting seeing a younger person who went halfway around the world to wrestle here and knows like to wrestle in front of a handful of people. So a very interesting, very unique watch.